How fast do you have to swim to evaporate all of the water around you? Don't worry, it isn't too complicated. First of all, usually all energy is conserved. If you have a lot of heat energy, that amount can be fully converted into light energy. Pretty basic. So, kinetic energy, the energy created by movement, will have the same amount as heat energy, just as an example. So swimming movement energy is the same as swimming heat energy. Okay, so far so good. I'm sure you might have possibly maybe noticed, but water is just a tiny bit harder to move in than air. Since water has quite a bit of resistance, we need to find out how much exactly. And if we know the heat energy, we can divide it by time to get power. That's pretty understandable. Power is the same as energy divided by time. And as a matter of fact, force is equal to power divided by velocity. So our drag, or resistance force, is found like that. However, the main equation used to find this is displayed here, and we need velocity. So combining it all and rearranging, we find this. It may look intimidating as this abomination, but it's pretty basic. It's just how fast you need to swim to evaporate all the water around you. Here you can see bits of the heat energy and evaporation energy, as well as drag. It's all just mixed in together. M is how heavy the water is. It's volume times the density of water. C sub P is just the specific heat capacity of water. How resistant is the water to various temperatures? Pretty resistant, I'd say. You don't often see water bursting into flames. T sub F is the evaporation temperature of water. How hot can water get before turning into a gas? T sub I is how hot the water is initially. If it's inside, then it's room temperature. Capital L is the specific latent heat of water's vaporization. It's basically a number that corresponds to evaporating water. T is the time it takes to fully evaporate it all. Lowercase l is the length of the arm that is swimming. R is the radius of that arm, and C sub D is the drag coefficient of the arm, basically a number that corresponds to its abnormal shape. The Greek letter rho, which looks like a P, is the density of the water. Finally, V is how fast you need to swim. So what can we find out? It's very easy. Average arms are 28 inches long, or 0.71 meters. They are 4 inches wide, or have a radius of 0.05 meters. I'm assuming you'll be able to vaporize all the water in just 1 second, and that the pool is at room temperature, 25 degrees Celsius. Now it gets a bit trickier. The drag coefficient of an arm, like this, is 0.47, or at least according to online sources it is. And these two heat values are also able to be looked up. Exactly how resistant is water to heat, and how much heat does it take to vaporize all water? Turns out they're 4,200 and 2,258,000. Since water boils fully at 100 degrees Celsius, that's the minimum final temperature. And finally, the measurements of the pool. If the pool is 25 meters long, 20 meters wide, and 12 feet deep, then its volume is 1,820 cubic meters. And since water is 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter, the pool weighs 1.82 million kilograms. That wasn't so hard. Or was it? So now it's just a matter of pulling out my busted and rusted, yet subsequently trusted, solar-powered calculating device. And you'd need to swim with 20,276.4 kilometers per hour. According to rotational physics, that's 2,525 full strokes every second. But, unfortunately, the vaporization is mutual, as 100 degrees Celsius will likely kill you instantly. But hey, at least you went out on fire. Ha ha ha! I guess you could say that he was steamin'. And unfortunately, steam burns are the worst of all burns, and when what's left of your body will be discovered, you'd be skinned, swollen, and pretty much flattened. You'd have broken the sound barrier 16.5 times over, thus creating a shockwave that will shatter all the windows in the building, and you'd create waves so unbelievably high that they'd flood out of the building. After all, what's left of the 1.82 million kilograms of water that hadn't evaporated would have to go somewhere. The energy let off could be enough to create a fireball 528 feet wide and a total explosion 2.86 miles wide. In a blast like this, in a populated area, 25,140 people would be killed, with an additional 60,810 being injured. The sound alone would be deadly, as it is 10 million times louder than a jackhammer. Swimming this would burn over 1 billion calories in only a second. So basically, it would be the most epic thing to do. Not only would you evaporate a pool, but you'd do something never done before. You'd blow up an entire town with your speed alone. Until next time, I'm the Theorizer.